Bunch of faggots. Everybody's in another team speak, got their mics muted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you to Speedway, Indiana, where the most famous 2.5-mile racing course in the world resides, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is a place where legends are made, and tonight, the stars of the Under Armour Cup Series try to add their name to the illustrious list of winners at this historic venue. It's the Fast Racing League's presentation of the Who's Your Team 140 at the Brickyard, brought to you by the Virtual Motorsports Network, the voice of NR. My name is Blake McCandless, and with me is the man that makes this entire production possible, Mr. Joe Allen. Joe, this may be a mid-season tilt for these drivers, but it goes without saying how important this race is. Whether or not this track suits your driving style, you always want to be able to call yourself a winner at the Brickyard.
Absolutely, an illustrious event. So excited to be out here with this new venture on the Virtual Motorsports Network. First show here for the guys at Fast Racing League at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think it's going to be a jam-packed evening. A lot of fast guys out here. Round number 7, I believe, of the event here tonight in their 2018 B segment here. And I think we're in for an exciting show here, Blake. I'm super excited to be doing this with you, my longtime friend and recent broadcast partner. We've done a lot of cool things together. This is certainly another one of those, and super excited to get going here. It's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one as well. We're looking out over kind of the qualifying times that these guys are throwing down. Looks like the 46-second to mid-47-second range is where these guys will line up their cars. And then again, Brandon Hawken, already a 4-time winner this season in the series, has found himself on the pole next to Ricky Collette, another driver contending for this championship. So no surprise to see the Canadian top the charts again. He's been really strong all season, and he's looking to do it again tonight on the premiere for the Virtual Motorsports Network. We're glad for all of you tuning in tonight on YouTube, as right now we are on YouTube live and bringing in some viewers for tonight's live action event. It's going to be great, and again, we're really pleased to bring you what we think is going to be a great product. But right now, these guys putting down their final practice laps in happy hour, and something we were talking about a little bit before the broadcast, Joe. This isn't the fixed setup that we're so accustomed to seeing here on NASCAR 2003. These guys have been working on their own setups, and I think that's something you see a little bit different here at Fast. Sometimes guys show up a little bit, I guess, later in practice to try to do things, but when you got an open setup, you got to put your own time in. So these guys, a lot of them here, about an hour and a half before this race got going to try and fine-tune their setups.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the few open setup leagues remaining here in the NR 2003 community, which used to be a very popular stable years ago. It was almost like every league you went to was open setup, and fixed setups were hard to come by, and it's kind of changed since then. Usually the primary majority of the leagues that run still in the community are majority fixed setup, while some of them are running open setups. So it's kind of flip-flop, but you're right. A lot of these guys out here early, putting in the extra time, knowing they're going to be on TV here tonight on the Virtual Motorsports Network, and they want to go out there and put on a show. And you know, all these special paint jobs out there too, all these guys representing their respective universities, whether alumni or just fans of the university in general. I think there's a lot of pride going on here for a lot of these guys that are out here tonight, and that explains why, you know, they put in the work that they did. So certainly going to you know, it'll tell. The guys that probably run up front all night, Blake, are probably the ones that put in a little more time on their setups than others, and we'll certainly see that, you know, throughout the event as we get going.
Well, it's good to see that hard work and time pay off. And another great point that you brought up there is this is the Who's Your Team 140. So all of these drivers tonight, it's a special night paint scheme-wise. All these guys out here supporting their favorite colleges, whether they go to them or just support their athletics programs. Either way, all these guys, almost just about every single driver, supporting one of these awesome paint schemes, trying to highlight all these different schools that they're trying to support. So great for these guys to go out there. Don't think we will see anybody repping my hometown Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs, even though I did find out one of the drivers here tonight, William Page, who's in the number 5 tonight, his parents did graduate from Gardner-Webb, so a little bit of running Bulldog blood out here, but unfortunately he ruins that by running North Carolina Tar Heels car out here tonight. But again, it's going to be an action-packed evening. A lot of new faces out here to debut for you here on the Virtual Motorsports Network. And we'll go ahead, and as these guys continue to wind down, I believe Happy Hour has just eclipsed its time. Brandon Hawken again put down the fastest lap of 47.356, along with Zach Trzaskowski right now at a 47.434 to round out second. And again, most of these guys using Happy Hour to kind of get those last-minute preparations in, try to practice green flag pit stops, and that's something here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway you wouldn't think about coming off of turn 4, but you have so much speed, there's no turn to worry about. Sometimes guys can fly right down pit road. So as Happy Hour comes to an end, we'll go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup that will be coming out here on the grid in just a moment.
Yeah, starting lineup will be here momentarily, just wrapping up conclusion laps here in Happy Hour before we get these cars gridded on pit road here. Looks like we got that number 28 machine on the screen right now. That was Austin Hakes. As we see the session switch over, Blake, looks like we are about to get started. Pace car out on the front straightaway. Go ahead and take us into our inaugural, very first Virtual Motorsports Network starting grid here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Well, starting back in the field in row 10, it's going to be the number 28 of Austin Hakes, who we just saw there pulling off. He'll be in the Ohio State Buckeyes Toyota tonight in that 28 machine. And to his inside in 19th is going to be the 21. I believe it is Noah Joyce that's going to be piloting that machine. And 17th is going to roll, or 16th rather, having to adjust here for the grid, is going to be the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux. And to his inside is going to be Michael Marotta. And 14th is going to be the number 2 of Joe Towanowski. And to his inside in 13th is going to be the 62 of Jacob Crago. In 12th is going to be the number 20 car. That's Joey Fulford. And to his inside, the number 8 is going to be Cam Barnes. And then moving inside the top 10, Zach Trzaskowski, the man we just saw put down the second fastest lap in Happy Hour. He's going to start in 10th. Starting in 9th is going to be Jordan Probst right there in the 41. And again, we were talking about him earlier. William Page is going to start in 8th on the outside of row number 4. And to his inside is going to be Trey Coleman in the 12 machine. 6th is going to be Joseph Weaver, followed by Sean Whitehill in 5th. And then the top 4 cars, the 4 you're going to really want to watch tonight. The defending Under Armour Cup Series champion, Cosmin Ionescu, starting in the 4th spot in the 4 car. Randall Coleman in 3rd to his inside, and then the front row is going to be headed by Ricky Collette and Brandon Hawken, who won the pole with a time of 46.528 seconds around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So these guys gridding up, and again, Joe, it's going to be a really exciting one.
Yeah, full field rundown, starting grid there. Number 99 machine starting on the pole. Going to definitely be a fun one, Blake. You covered it. Got a lot of strong guys starting in the top 5. Couple heavy hitters starting outside the top 10. They're going to have to really conserve their stuff and make their way forward. But Indianapolis always been a track where you have to kind of be mindful of your tire wear, Blake. What do you think? What type of role do you think tire wear for these guys with these open setups will play here by the end of this evening?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these fixed setup leagues will come in here, kind of play it on the tight side, and try to keep this race green. They have really long yellow flag laps here if they're not able to keep it green. So you typically want a tighter setup. And, you know, let's be honest, not a whole lot of turning in these corners. Of course, you only have 9.2 degrees of banking in the 4 corners here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But kind of hard to fine-tune how much speed you want in your car versus turn. Well, Brandon Hawken is going to bring it onto the front stretch with Ricky Collette on his outside in the Burrow Art Toyota. Green flag is in the air, and Brandon Hawken looks like he gets a great jump. He'll go to the line first, single file, and right behind him it's going to be Randall Coleman diving down to the inside in the Duke Blue Devils Chevrolet, trying to take second away from Collette. He does clear him off of 2, so move Coleman up to the 2nd spot, and then move Ricky Collette back to 3rd. Right behind them is going to be Sean Whitehill, who got the best of Cosmin Ionescu. And then back there near Joseph Weaver, you can see 2 rivals kind of with each other, the Carolina car and the NC State Wolfpack car, rounding out our top 8.
Yeah, it looks like we got a vehicle spinning down there through turns 3 and 4. Caution flag going to be out on the speedway here, Blake. Real early going down into turn 3. It looked like we had a little bit of contact there. I'm going to throw it back to you while I get to work down here.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be the number 8 of Cam Barnes, who looks like he had a little bit of contact, and we'll bring you that replay in just a moment. Looks like the Charlotte 49er machine may have just gotten loose heading into turn 3. But I believe it will be a single car accident as Cam Barnes spins it. And Joe, how about we take a look at that with you one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get this on the screen here real quick. Go in slow motion here. Looking at that number 8 machine, as you said, of Cam Barnes. Just drives it down into turn 3 here, and that Dodge Charger gets a little bit loose, running up about half a groove off the bottom there. Just steps out from behind him there. I think this is a common theme that we may see tonight, Blake, where these open setups, a lot of these guys are going to be, working on these setups to make them just a little bit looser right on the edge there for these early runs, trying to, conserve the tires and maybe have these things not tighten up on them as much through the end of the run. And Cam Barnes may have overdone it just a little bit. That number 8 machine around hard into the outside wall. I think the benefit here is these guys run moderate damage here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and in the Under Armour Cup Series. So he'll be able to take that thing down pit road, get some repairs and some work done to it. Still going to need a little bit of work and some luck here throughout the rest of the race to get himself back up there, but definitely a start for him moving forward. Back up to you, Blake.
Well, I think regardless of realistic or moderate damage that they run here in this series, not a whole lot of damage there for Cam Barnes. Got into it with the side of the car, but didn't really damage the front end or the engine of the car, and obviously didn't have any contact. So a good job by the rest of this field checking up and making sure they got around that accident. But I'm really surprised to see all of these cars come onto pit road, as obviously we only completed about half of a lap as they were going into turn 3, and Cam Barnes brought out our first caution of the night. But right now I'm counting 1, 2, 3, I believe it's about 8 cars or more that elected to come down pit road after just running half of a lap. So if anything, I think that will go ahead and tell you how important tire wear will become tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Some guys electing to come down pit road early, like you said. So maybe thinking long-term strategy here, hoping these guys are going to be able to, get a little bit of a green flag run here under our belts, Blake, moving forward, and see what type of tire wear this has. But let's not forget, we had less than half a lap on the tires. So, the tire temps are going to be a little bit cooler probably for the guys that came down pit road. So that may help them. But with only having half a lap, I'm not sure what type of benefit those guys are going to get down there, except for maybe the extra lap and a half of fuel that they were able to put in those cars. But beyond that, it's still too early to tell. Lap 3 of 70 complete so far here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Long way to go in this special race here at the Fast Racing League for the Under Armour Cup Series.
Yeah, that is certainly true. 70 laps will make up this event. So the Hoosier Team 140, 70 laps is a long time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you got to think these guys want to put on a great show, and will try to get green as soon as possible. Looking out in front of the field, it looks like a couple of the cars staying out is going to be Randall Coleman in that Duke Blue Devils Chevrolet. Guess wanting to run that top spot, is I believe that's where Duke is preseason ranked in the top spot, so trying to represent the Blue Devils there. And then Sean Whitehill in the Cincinnati Bearcats Ford Fusion will be on the outside. Cosman Ionescu also stayed out as well. And then Joseph Weaver electing to stay out in the Wolfpack Toyota. And then Joyce in the 21 will round out the top 5 in the Alsco Chevrolet. So looks like the lights still on the pace car, and that's one thing we were talking about. Not only is this a large racetrack, that means the caution laps seems like they take a while as well. And I think that may take away some of the advantage here for some of these guys that come down pit road. You think about, how hard it is to pass here. Not a lot of passing opportunities on these long straightaways and narrow corners where there's just not a lot of room to try to pass in the middle of these turns. And then you combine that with the fact that, only half a lap on tires, and then the caution is so long, your tires cool down, so maybe lose just as much as the guys that didn't pit going into that first corner. So obviously an interesting call for these guys to try to make, and see what they can make out of this track position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think looking at it as well, have to take into consideration, you know, a lot of these guys running different setups. Some guys build setups differently than others. You're going to have some guys that are out there that have really a short run based setup. You're going to have some guys that are going to have more speed in the middle of the run. And there'll be some guys out there that have a lot of long run speed. So should be interesting to see what the difference in the setups are here. Obviously only lap 4. Barely got half a lap under green here when we got going. So once we get these guys going here under green flag conditions, I'm really interested to see what type of different strategies we have here. Fast, no stranger to a lot of different teams. I believe we have 7 or 8 represented teams out there with various guys running on various teams, and that doesn't necessarily mean that those guys are running the same setups either by any stretch of the imagination, Blake. So it's going to be an interesting show here tonight once we get these guys under green. Fast, very notorious for long green flag runs, clean, stable racing, so I wouldn't be too worried about what we saw here at the opening of the event here as the pace car lights go out, and we'll be getting these things back under green here within less than a lap.
Well, definitely, and I think that's one thing that you tend to see here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and whether it's through my own sim racing experience or, heck, you can look at the Monster Energy Cup Series race here that happened a year ago, you generally either see a lot of green flag racing here or not a lot at all, because once you can get spread out, it's really hard for that caution flag to come out kind of once the field starts separating itself and you get kind of a lead pack and then a couple cars kind of scrambling behind them, all single file. So even if a spin occurs, it's kind of rare that the caution flag comes out. So all we need is that long green flag run. I believe we may be good to go for tonight. But lights out atop the pace car. We're on lap 5 right now, as you can look at our beautiful ticker that Joe Allen, again, our producer and also graphics worker, did an amazing job making that look professional for you guys and trying to bring the best quality that we can here to the track as possible. So lap 5 on the board, it's going to be Randall Coleman, as we mentioned earlier, a contender not only tonight, but he will also be a Championship 4 driver in the Chromatic Truck Series event this Friday night. Their Championship 4 being run just this Friday night. It's going to be at the Homestead Miami Speedway. It's going to be Randall Coleman, William Page, Austin Hakes, and Brandon Hawken who try to take down that championship on Friday night. But right now, Coleman at the front of this field, trying to see if he can get away from the rest of this field. I believe one car actually just put on the apron there in turn 4. I believe it's the 21 of Joyce. Not sure quite what happened there. He's going 20 miles an hour and slowing down, now catching back up. But we'll try to see if we can get more word on that as Coleman on the front stretch will lead this field to the green flag. Pace car on pit road, and the flagman waves that green flag. They get going, and again, a great jump by the man in the lead car. This time it's Randall Coleman who will be able to get away single file into turn 1, but there's still 2 wide stacked behind them. Whitehill on the high side, Ionescu on the inside. It looks like Whitehill may be able to get just enough room to try to close off Cosman, and believe he will. And now Brandon Hawken trying to give chase in 4th.
Yeah, it looked like Ionescu had a little bit of trouble down there in the middle of 1 and 2. Clipped the apron just a little bit, but as we say that, bounces right back side by side with Whitehill in the 91, battling down through turns 3 and 4. Clear the number 4 into that second spot, followed by the 99 of Brandon Hawken, moved himself up to the 3rd spot. Randall Coleman out there still leading in that number 24 machine, about a half a car length distance down the front straightaway here, coming down to you, Blake.
Yeah, Randall Coleman will come and lead the first green flag lap that we complete of the evening. But right now, it looks like Ionescu really making a march towards the front. He's pulling Hawken with him. And right now, again, they're making up some ground, quite a bit of ground there on Coleman. But again, with these open setups, you have some of these drivers not able, or they build their setup for a longer run. And we know Cosman, he is fast, and he will try to go to the front as early as possible, as now he'll dive beneath Coleman in 4, not able to clear. That allows Hawken to draw a little bit closer. Hawken will check up, and Coleman will get back in 2nd. But right now, Ionescu will take the lead out of 4. And it looks like he's going to try to build on that, as Hawken still has Coleman in front of him.
Yeah, move that number 24 machine out to the race lead. Brandon Hawkins settles down into third behind the 24 of Randall Coleman in that second spot. Gotta wonder, what kind of patience Randall has here. Randall, usually a guy pretty good at conserving his tires here. Saw that the 4 machine of Cosman Inoshu was just a little bit quicker than him. Decided, hey, you know what? It's early. We're lap 8 of this entire 70-lap event in. Go ahead and go by me. See what you got on the long run. Meanwhile, Brandon Hawkins still down, back there in that third position. And then looking back, Davey Hazard, that number 75 machine in the fourth position, he's coming into the fray as well. He wants in on the action for the top 3 spot.
He certainly does. It looks like Brandon Hawkins playing it a little bit patient behind Coleman, but just as I say that, he'll peek down to the inside. He gets drafting help from Hazard, and even you can look, Ionshu, he will actually move down and give Hawkins a little bit of draft going into 1. They go in side by side. Coleman able to hold him off on the top side, and now Hazard looking to capitalize. He'll pull in right behind Hawkins. But again, that shows you how difficult it is to pass here at Indianapolis. You can give the guy below you a lane, but it is really hard to exit these corners if you're being pinched down there on the inside. And it looks like that's what Coleman was able to do there. Now Hawkins looks again, but will check up into 3. Coleman slips up a little bit. Hawkins rotates the center of the corner. Now looking low again. And again, just not able to do it. I think Hawkins has the faster car right now. But again, Coleman does a great job in just minding his own business and making him work for it.
Yeah, absolutely. The 99 machine looks like he has a fast piece here. That number 75 machine of Davey Hazard right there in tow as well. And Blake, we got 3 Toyotas and 1 Chevrolet up here in the top 4. Then that number 91 machine, that Ford Fusion of Sean Whitehill back there in the 5th spot. So I believe these guys are teammates. I think Hawkins, Davey Hazard, and Cosman are all teammates. That's why Cosman, you see him move down about half a groove off the wall down the back straightaway, trying to give Hawkins just a little bit of help, get him some clean draft air down there. But, don't count out that 24 machine. He fights back. But as I say that, it looks like Hawkins able to complete that pass. Now he falls into the clutches of the 75 of Davey Hazard as well. Believe he's going to clear that and make that pass off of turn 4 as well. So move the 3 Toyotas, the Toyota bunch up there, 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack with that Chevrolet of Randall Coleman and that number 24 machine back in the 4th spot.
Yeah, 3 Toyotas lead the field, and it looks like the top college scheme right now is going to be Davey Hazard running that North Florida Toyota in the 3rd spot. But we'll take a look kind of behind this pack as you look at Sean Whitehill. He's kind of a man in no man's land right now, has quite a gap behind him, and is really just trying to hang on to this front draft. He's probably about 2 or 3 tenths behind Randall Coleman, so enough to stay in the draft of the top pack. But then you look behind them, and it looks like Weaver has definitely lost that draft from the front pack, along with Austin Hakes, who sits there in 7th right behind Weaver. Behind him is Collette with a little bit of right front damage to his 43 UMass Toyota. And it looks like, actually, if you look there as we pass him on the front stretch, the 21 of Joyce sitting on pit road and will actually pull off the track, so I believe that will end his night. Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of smoke here earlier on the broadcast, so I think that will end his night, as I believe his engine expired. But now Austin Hakes back there for the 7th spot, looking to take 6th away from Weaver, and it looks like going into turn 3, he'll pass that Wolfpack Toyota. So move Hakes up to the 6th spot, and I believe the game is now trying to catch that front pack in front of him of Sean Whitehill and try to stay in that draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that Austin Hakes completed the pass on Joseph Weaver, he's going to set his sights forward to the 91 of Sean Whitehill. We've seen that 24 Randall Coleman start to drop off just a little bit as well. Looks like he's lost touch with those 3 Toyotas up front, maybe used up his stuff just a little bit, battling hard for that 2nd and 3rd spot before he fell back here to the 4th position. He's going to be under fire from Whitehill, and that brought Austin Hakes in the 28 machine right into the battle. Here comes the 10 as well, as Austin Hakes makes a move on the 91 of Sean Whitehill. He's going to clear that pass going down into turn 3 and set his sights forward on that number 24 machine of Randall Coleman.
Well, Coleman, I think, he stayed out on that last stop, as did Whitehill, and I just think either his setup wasn't set up for the long run, or there's, I guess, half a lap older tires maybe coming into play. And it's really the top 3 that have moved completely away and kind of checked out from the field, as Coleman's still under fire from Hakes. It looks like Coleman gets really tight off of 2. He'll push up to the wall. That allows Hakes to go by, and Coleman will give way to Hakes to give up that 4th spot. And I believe Whitehill has an opportunity here depending on how the draft works out. And I think Hakes is actually going to move down in the middle just a little bit to keep them even down the back straightaway. Coleman will race Whitehill hard on the top, but I believe he's just way too tight right now in that Duke Chevrolet. Able to keep with it. That brings Weaver into the mix onto the bottom of Coleman. And now Weaver able to clear off of turn number 4. Not able to quite get him yet, though. But I believe Coleman has definitely seen better days in that Duke Chevrolet. It looks like he's just too tight right now to keep up.
Yeah, it looks like he's losing all of his ground through the center of the corner. He's just not able to keep it pinned down there like we've seen the 91 of Sean Whitehill, the 10 of Joseph Weaver. Here comes that number 43 machine of Ricky Collette. All those guys able to roll the center a lot better than that 24 machine. He is just dropping like a fly through the field here. Down to the 8th position now, under fire by the 40 machine. That's Michael Marotta. Tommy Bordeaux in the number 57 is going to do the same thing. Randall Coleman really struggling here early on. Thought he was going to show a lot of speed, but it looks like he's going to be one of those guys that has a lot of short run speed. But with the open setup combination here, Blake, one thing that we're able to see out of these guys is they are able to make modifications and adjustments to their race cars throughout the race, something that you can't do with a fixed setup race. You can only modify the steering ratio, and you get one shot at that, and that's before you actually grid and get into these cars to get the event started. So a lot of tools that Randall Coleman will have here to his disposal to try and make this thing just a little bit better.
Well, that's certainly a great point, and really all that congestion around the 24 has allowed all these guys in front of him to kind of pack up and keep draft. Right now, Austin Hakes kind of out far from Sean Whitehill in the top 5, but right now Weaver, Collette, Bordeaux, they're all in a draft, and you got to think there's 2 cars right now leading this pack, or leading the field rather, and Ionescu, and in second is also going to be Brandon Hawken. So you got to think you almost want this pack to stay together, because think about the 6 or 7 people you can have drafting. Even if you're losing speed in the corner, you could probably make it up on these long straightaways where draft is really crucial.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen that so far early on through the event, how crucial the draft can be when you're trying to make a pass, especially on old tires. So obviously, Cosman, Ionescu, Brandon Hawken, and the 99, they like what they see right now. These guys have been able to get themselves out to over a 2-second lead over Davey Hazard in the 3rd position, over a 5-second lead back to Austin Hakes, Sean Whitehill, Joseph Weaver, and the list just goes down from there. So these guys are certainly looking for the long-run speed right now as they continue to drive away from the rest of the field and hopefully try to get themselves within a pit window here and maybe see if we can get some green flag pit stops going.
Yeah, we'll see. We've been about 13 laps so far on this run, so you got to think somewhere in the mid-20s is where these guys are aiming, depending on, I guess, the 2X or 1X tire wear that this league runs. But they're going to have to find some more speed. Right now, Ionescu 46.973, and Hawken nearly matches that with a 972, but nobody else in the field last time around ran a lap that was in the 46-second range. So obviously a little bit of fall off, as seems like Ionescu and Hawken right now ran 46.6s as their fastest laps of the day, but a lot of these guys can't even match that. So hoping that these guys just don't have a lot of equipment, have a lot of short run speed. I'm sure that's what they're hoping right now, is now Cosman will finally dip into that 40-second range, or 47-second range, as well as Hawken. So he'll run a 47.061. But again, the rest of the field about half a second off that pace.
Yeah, and looking down at my statistics and data scoring that I have, something I didn't recognize earlier, but Brandon Hawken in that 99 machine was actually one of the takers that came down pit road under that last caution. So this will be a really, a tall tale sign moving forward if these guys continue to keep this thing under green flag conditions. We had about a 3 or 4 lap difference on tires, even though the guys that stayed out only had about a half a lap under green flag conditions. The cycle of the tires here is going to be something to look for as we see Cosman run down to the middle of the front straightaway there trying to break the draft of that 99. So I'm interested to see how Cosman's able to hang tight with the 99 machine here as these guys continue to put more and more laps on their tires, as they're basically running and matching lap times, although Brandon Hawken about a 1/10 of a second faster than Cosman Ionescu last time by, a 47.1 to Cosman's 47.2, both at 190 miles an hour.
Well, I think the other thing that comes along with the tires that those guys are utilizing right now, or guys like Brandon Hawken that did come down pit road, you got to think of fuel as well. You don't really think about that. Riding that entire pace lap around the track is now they'll catch lap traffic as they'll go by the 62 Sun Devils machine of Jacob Crago, and I believe. And then you have the number 8 car of Cam Barnes, again, that car that we saw running there and got a little bit loose there and showing a little bit of internet lag, but Barnes trying to recover from that early spin. But now Hawken will try to look to the inside of Ionescu, and it looks like Cosman removes the throttle just a little bit, and he'll give way. So move the number 99 up to the top spot. Lap 21 of 70 being put on the board right now. Move that 99 Toyota not only up to the front, but he's looking to put a couple car lengths between him and that Ford machine. And actually, Cosman is going to slow down. He's going to come down pit road.
Yeah, Cosman making his way down pit road. Lap 21. Think about him not staying out on the racetrack under that last caution. You know, some guys like you, Blake, from the time that we've spent racing together, save fuel, save fuel, save fuel. From the moment that pace car pulls off to start lap 1, if there's an early caution, that's kind of your mantra. A lot of these other guys, not really the same way. They think, you know, it's early in the race. There's a lot of time to make up for that. This might be one of those instances. Maybe Cosman really wasn't working the clutch under that caution, didn't really see the NASCAR physics there, the car sinking in under that last caution. So he may have just been riding around out there, and that would probably be right around our pit window between 20 to 23 laps, I'm guessing, is probably what these guys can make it on fuel. So now as we say that, got to wonder how long the 99 machine of Brandon Hawken here decides to stay out on the racetrack, knowing that Cosman Ionescu has now come down. That's really going to start the cycle of green flag pit stops here, and you don't want to give up too much time as we see him go by the 24 machine. It looked like they're off of pit road, so he's going to get himself just a little bit of a gap over that 24. Maybe not the best pit entry that he was looking for.
Yeah, perhaps not, but I think your question is right. How long will Brandon Hawken stay out? Again, we saw him come down pit road, so he saves what you got to think those guys that stayed out. Paced a lap that did not count, ran about a half of a lap full throttle, and you got to think about the 2 or 3 laps under yellow that they ran after that. But I believe Hawken is going to slow up right here. He probably saved about 2 laps worth of fuel, and I believe Hawken will come down pit road. I really hope that pit road speed marker, it does not start at that cone, because if it is, that 99 machine was definitely going in too fast.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something to look forward to here. This is one of the older versions of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I believe it's Indianapolis 2015, so definitely a little bit different. I don't think they usually start at the cone on these older tracks. It's usually probably pit stall to pit stall is my assumption, and then the cone there is going to be your exit as I'm following that number 2 machine coming off of pit road there. So not sure. We'll have to keep a lookout for that. I'm not seeing anything on scoring and data yet that suggests that Hawken, you know, had a pit road speeding penalty or anything as of right now, but we'll just have to keep an eye on that moving forward. If we do see him come down pit road, obviously we'll have a better understanding on what it's for. But these older track versions, I know some of the newer ones, they go cone to cone. Some of them are pit stall to pit stall. So that'll be something we'll have to keep an eye on. I think mainly that's probably just a commitment line is all that is, though.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case, as Tommy Bordeaux, the leader, will finally come down pit road after a little bit of green flag cycles. Got to think, if you're looking ahead about 45 laps to the end of this thing, Tommy Bordeaux may be able to stretch it a couple laps further on fuel, which when you're thinking you got maybe 22 laps or so to go, never know how important that will be as 57 Toyota comes down pit road. Right side's up in the air as he'll get some new Goodyear Eagles. But right now it looks like his lead is going to vanquish here in just a second, as Brandon Hawken is going to come here on the front straightaway, go by the start finish line and pass that 57 that's sitting there on pit road. Interesting move though, Bordeaux only took 2 tires, only saw those 2 right sides go up, so an interesting play there from the 47 or 57 rather.
That's a very interesting strategy call here. 25 laps in, we're almost halfway through this event. Gotta wonder what Tommy Bordeaux in that 57 is thinking. We were just about to cover how well of a pit stop the 99 of Brandon Hawkins had there. Basically got out to over a, say, 1.5 to 2 second lead over Cosman Ionescu there, who we thought maybe had a a rough pit stop coming down pit road just based on how far out the 99 got out on him. But now I'm interested to see what happens with the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux here. Did he possibly pit too close to the wall where he was only able to take right sides, or is this a different strategy play here to see what type of run that this 57 could potentially have here throughout the end of the race?
Well, I visually saw that pit stop that he made, and he was parked pretty far on the right side of his pit stall, so I doubt that it was the pit crew could not get those left side tires. I believe it's just trying to save some time. You got to think that, you know, you're putting 2 cans of fuel in. You're going to save a couple of seconds by putting in 2 tires, but it's not going to be as much if you didn't have to put as much fuel in the car. So Bordeaux will cycle back out. I believe he crossed the line in the 10th spot, 14 seconds back. But I guess another play to see there if, you know, the time that he gains will be worth it. But right now, Hawken still out to that lead. Cosman and Ionescu back about 0.7 of a second. Actually, it's going to be Page who is in second. I believe scoring just gave him a lap back. So put Page there up to second. And then Ionescu will use that draft of the Carolina machine to try and pull up and pass him low. Believe he's going to be able to do that. So that is one thing here about Indianapolis, is that Ionescu was lucky enough to be able to utilize that draft. It kind of makes up for that bad pit stop.
Yeah, definitely a benefactor for him. But remember, we covered earlier, I think Cosman is a little bit better than Brandon Hawken in the 99 here through the first 10 or 15 laps on, or I'd say the first 10 laps probably in the cycle of these tires. And then right about through the middle of this fuel run, the 99, as it burns off fuel, a little bit better than that number 4 machine. And that's why he was able to get out in front of him and really pull away just ever so slightly. Looking at the lap times here, Cosman ran a 46.8 to a 47.0 by Brandon Hawken, our leader here. So about 0.2 of a second quicker than the leader Cosman is. So a different strategy. You know, these guys probably running somewhat similar setups, but the balance off just a little bit for both of them. So that could really play a key role in here. If these guys continue to keep this thing green, you know, depending on how the rest of the pit stop sequence works here, it could really turn into a shootout towards the end of the race, depending on who's able to make the right adjustments at the right times under these conditions. Because these guys really up to a 6-second lead over the 75 of Davey Hazard. These guys are really in a league of their own going down into turn 1.
Well, I kind of wanted to highlight Davey Hazard. As it sits right now, he's 7 seconds back. As he'll go back that time, he lost about 0.2 of a second to the leader that time around. But you got to think, he's doing that without any draft. There is no car that is really anywhere close to in front of or behind him. You have Austin Hakes, but is obviously not in the drafting wake of Hazard. I got to think that that 75 machine, if he's able to get the track position or somehow catch those guys, that he has a car that's capable of running with the 99 and the 4 machine. You got to think, if he's only 0.2 slower of a second without any draft down these long straightaways here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he's going to have some speed in that machine. If he can get the track position or catch a yellow flag, I believe he may be a guy that can go up and run with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's all Davey Hazard's really looking for here. Obviously, Cosman Ionescu and Brandon Hawken not looking for the same thing. These guys love the cushion that they've really built for themselves, and this is really a race between the two of them as they work back around that number 62 machine of Jacob Crego and that Arizona State Sun Devils sponsored Dodge Charger there. And, you know, you covered it. To be able to pull those lap times, he was a little bit slower there. Now that these guys were able to get tail to tail, they both ran 46.7s to Hazard's 47.1. So they were able to really, you know, gap themselves as far as lap times go. It'll be interesting to see what they cycle back to this time around the line. It looks like Hawkins starting to put down a little bit. Oh, not that time. Cosman Ionescu about a 10th quicker again than Brandon Hawken here. So I gotta wonder if Cosman is you know, complacent with staying where he's at behind the 99, able to save a little bit of fuel, maybe try to get himself on the same sequence here, or if he may try to make a run at that 99 for the race lead. I'm kind of interested to see what type of move that number 4 machine makes here on, you know, coming down to complete lap 31, Blake.
Well, I know Ionescu and I compete together at FTF on Sunday nights, and we've driven many races together. If there's one thing I know about Cosman, is that he is digging 100% really the whole time that he's out there. Not one that at least that I've known to try and save his tires and make a run there at the end. But you can't deny he's caught Hawken. Hasn't really made a move to try and pass him yet. I think he recognizes, hey, this is a race between the two of us for the win. And we're not even halfway through this thing, and we've built really just a ginormous lead on the rest of the field now. About 8.5 seconds back to Davey Hazard in third. If I was him, or really if I was Hawken, I would just be thinking, let's keep our pace up and just ensure that if this thing does come down to the end, it's just between the two of us. Don't want to do anything that will wreck one of us out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that last time by, Hawken put a lap down about 1/10 of a second quicker than the 4. But I think what we're seeing is the draft is really working now, where Cosman is able to keep himself within striking distance if Hawken in that 99 makes a slight mistake there and slips up. And see Cosman using one of the old NR 2003 tricks here, where he gets himself all the way up against that outside wall on corner entry there, unless he's trying to make a move, as there's a little bit of a bump down there halfway down the back straightaway as well that they have to be mindful of. But I think you know this as well as I do, Blake. The closer you get to that wall, especially on corner entry, not only are you able to arc yourself down into the corner, but you can actually cool your right side tires down just a little bit. Just one of those little hidden gems with NR 2003 that we've learned over the years through our own racing experience.
Yeah, it's something that can make a little bit of a difference. I guess not huge, and depending on the league that you're at, some of them will have a rule against that. I think more with Cosman, it's just trying, like you said, trying to get as much arc on that corner entry as possible. But right now, he's, again, just riding right with Hawken. Hasn't really made a move on him. Ran a similar lap time to him last time at 9.69 for Hawken and a 9.85 for Cosman last time by. But let's go ahead and let's take a little bit of a rundown through this field right now. We can go back to the third spot. You see the 75 of Davey Hazard, who had quite a bit of a gap between him and really anybody else. Kind of is holding down that third position nicely, but Austin Hakes back there in the 28 car. He's riding in fourth and is really just trying to keep pace with Hazard, almost doing it. But again, trying to see if he can just get close enough to get in that draft. I think he may be able to run down Hazard there and either work together or try to challenge each other for that third spot. You can go back to the 5th place position, and you see Joseph Weaver holding it down in that beautiful, just amazing Wolfpack Toyota. Of course, a little bit biased growing up in Raleigh, but don't really have much to brag about after getting demolished last week in Death Valley by Clemson. But nevertheless, Weaver holding it down in 5th, but leading a pack of cars right behind him. Right now, Collette holding on in that 43 machine in that UMass Dartmouth Toyota. And right behind them, Sean Whitehill keeping pace in those beautiful Cincinnati Bearcat colors. But really, those top 7 are the few right now that are bunched up. You look back there, and everybody's just kind of spread out until you get back to the 10th spot there with Fulford and Towanowski.
Yeah, it was one of our full field rundowns there. Just over halfway here, just completed lap 35 of this 70-lap event here, following along with that number 57 machine with Tommy Bordeaux. Looking to see how he's able to hang in there. He's moved up 2 spots since he came off pit road after that 2-tire stop into the 8th position. Running a couple lap times a little bit quicker than some of the guys in front of him. Not a whole lot, so interested to see what type of strategy this is, especially taking 2 tires, Blake. I'm interested to see, maybe was he a lap down, or was he just well off the pace where this is a strategy move to try and get himself back into contention here to at least try and battle for a top 5 finish. But got a little bit of ground to make, still 4 seconds behind that number 10 machine of Joseph Weaver. As we see, here comes that number 57 machine. Tommy Bordeaux dives off the raceway. Got a bunch of leaders down on pit road right now. That number 12 machine is down there. I saw the 5 come down pit road. It looks like the 75 is down there. The 5 is down there. So a lot of our leaders down pit road right now, Blake.
Interesting move. We didn't quite see them run, 20 laps or what we were accustomed to seeing. I guess that 20 to 22 fuel lap window, these guys may be trying to short pit here to try to get some track position, as obviously there is quite a bit of a tire fall off here, but just not sure what these guys are going to be able to do with this strategy. This time by, though, Bordeaux will take those 4 tires, as I believe some of those other guys on pit road may have utilized 2. We can go back and check, and actually I think most of these guys just pit before him. So a little bit of short pitters here trying some strategy to see if they can run down Hawken and Ionescu. Now it's up to them to see when they're going to come down pit road as well. They came in about just after lap 20. It was lap 22. I believe we saw Cosman on pit road, and just a couple laps after, it was Hawken that followed. Wonder how much longer they'll stay out, because we know they can go on fuel. It's just whether those tires matter for track position.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be paying attention to the interval here between those guys that just came down pit road and where they currently sit on the racetrack. You don't want to give up too much time, but obviously these guys pitting about halfway through the run, really trying to force these guys' hands to come back down on pit road, or maybe stay out and see if taking early tires can gain some track position to try and get these guys into closer contention than what they might have been before. So I like you, I'm interested as well, Blake. We should be getting pretty close to a full fuel run here, completing lap 38, coming down into turn 3 and 4, lap 39 here. Should see these guys, if they do decide to stay out here for the remainder of the run, probably within the next 5 or 6 laps. I anticipate to see them on pit road.
One thing I know, and something I've even done as a leader in some of the earlier sim racing that I've done, if you're the leader, you almost want to stay out. You have a little bit of a cushion that you can afford to have, and you got to think the last thing you want to see is a caution. But if a caution were to come out, the one thing you want to do is trap as many cars a lap down as possible, so there is not near as many cars racing you for position on the restart. So Hawken right now stays out on the racetrack, as Ionescu will come down pit road and service his 4 machine. But Hawken, if he can go a couple extra laps, I think he should do it. I think he'll come out, if he comes out behind Cosman, if Cosman has a really good stop and runs a few laps on fresher tires and makes up some ground, I think Hawken will be able to stay out front. And if he does fall behind, he has fresher tires and he has the draft to try to run him down. So if I were Hawken, I would try to set this thing up to run as long as possible, to not only kind of set yourself up with fresh tires compared to Ionescu, but again, you want to keep trapping cars a lap down so that if a caution comes out, there's no issue.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what we also have to keep in mind here, Blake, is think about fuel mileage here. These guys are getting anywhere from 20 to 23 laps on fuel. If Brandon Hawken were to come down this time, he would have to come back down pit road at approximately lap 63 or 64. As I see a little bit of smoke off of turn 3 there. It looked like we may have had a car go around. No caution on the racetrack just yet, but here comes Brandon Hawken, our leader, back down onto pit road this time around, Blake. I'll throw it down to you for the pit road call.
Well, we'll get you an update on Fulford, who is spinning there in just a bit. But right now, Hawken looks like he got down to that 55-mile-an-hour range in time. That's the other thing you don't want to do in a race like this, is speed on pit road and really relinquish your shot of
Caution
winning.
is out on the raceway.
And actually, yeah, Joe Allen just said it. Caution is out on the speedway. We'll have to see where that cycles through. We saw the 20 of Fulford, who was spinning to the apron in turn 4. That did not bring out a yellow, but we'll have to search through and kind of go through our spotters, see if we can find what brought out the yellow flag. Hawken, though, already on pit road, gets those 2 right side Goodyear Eagles, and we'll move around to the left side as well, and we'll be down and away. However, what a great strategy call. We were just talking about it. If a caution comes out, you want to be out front, and really no better place for that to happen when you're on pit road. But Joe, I think you figured out what happened. Tell us what happened to bring that yellow out.
Yeah, as you can see, following along here with the 12 of Trey Coleman, looks like engine goes up in smoke there. That Ford Fusion expiring through the middle of turns 1 and 2 here. We'll see a big puff of smoke come right out of the car right about here. And I think it was just enough. We see him hold the clutch in right here to try and get the smoke to dissipate. Didn't want to try and throw the caution out here. But NASCAR officials here for the Fast Racing League determining that oil on the racetrack. And that is, I believe, the cause of the caution here. I didn't see any other incident that possibly would have done this without, or, you know, per the exception of this one. So I think this is what we're looking at right here, Blake. The number 12 machine engine expiring on lap 41 for that number 12 machine of Trey Coleman here. Very unfortunate to see that machine go out early in this event. Unfortunate for him.
Well, also, I think I'm getting word, and I think you may be able to catch up with this and confirm this as well. I believe there were actually 2 other cars that made a bit of an incident there trying to enter pit road. I believe it was the 42 of Ingram in that Texas A&M Exalta machine. He was trying to enter pit road. I believe there was an accident, and poor Woody Page just had nowhere to go, or William Page, rather, want to get his name correct there. Looks like he got into the back of him and sent him into that pit road wall on lap 39. So believe we had a couple incidents there that may have collectively brought out our yellow flag as the engine expired, and also we had some contact here on the front straightaway. Not often you see that, but I think Ingram just had trouble getting onto pit road, and that's what brought out the yellow.
Yeah, that could have definitely been one of the causes for the yellow as well. Had a couple incidents that occurred there that could have potentially been the, the cause of what we saw here. So, I mean, I guess our guess is as good as the guess of, the race guys. But Blake, what do you say we change it up a little bit here? See if you can scroll down on your TeamSpeak, maybe drag our race leader Brandon Hawkins up here. Let's see if maybe we can get a word with our race leader here real quick.
Let's see if we can do that. I hope he doesn't mind us pulling him. Just a second. Brandon Hawkins, this is Blake McKinless in the VMN booth. You got a copy? You mind us talking to you?
Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, it's going fine, and I'm sure, it was going pretty fine for you until you saw that yellow flag out, but man, that 99 sure has some speed in it.
Yeah, the PTR and M7 guys, we got some speed here tonight, so yeah, hopefully we can capitalize on that at the end of the race. And yeah, man, we were having a great race there, especially with Cosman there. We were right next to each other.
Yeah, y'all definitely were, and this yellow flag throws a little bit of wrench in as far as strategy may go. Obviously, you were on pit road when the caution came out, so really a perfect spot to try and pin some cars a lap down and just be able to come out and not have to come down pit road and lose the track position. But what do you think the fuel window is for you guys? I know it's probably going to be around 35 laps remaining once the green flag drops. So what are you thinking here? Because I'm pretty sure you're going to have to make it on at least one stop.
Yeah, yeah, we're showing 18 projected right now, so we got 27 laps to go. So yeah, we should be able to make it on just one more stop if it goes green. And but yeah, there'll probably be a lot more pit stops if we get a few yellows though.
Oh, for sure. But anyways, thanks for taking a quick moment out. Don't want to keep you too long, as obviously you have a lot of racing left to do. But so far, you and that 4 car seem to be the cars to beat. So we'll let you get back to work. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right, let me give me a second to move him.
Yeah, good chat there with the 99 machine, our current race leader, Brandon Hawkins there, and that beautifully prepared Deviant Art. One of the few schemes in the field here, not running one of the university-sanctioned vehicles out on the racetrack, so he's putting it to all the university fans right now. But hey, nonetheless, a very beautifully prepared machine that he runs week in and week out here at the Fast Racing League. And Blake, we were a little off with our strategy calls here as far as fuel. We were thinking anywhere from 20 to 23 laps. They're only showing 18 projected there. Got to believe he's trying to save a little bit of fuel, but that's a lot less of a gallon or a full fuel cell than what we thought they had. So that's certainly going to change things up just a little bit as well. And got to wonder, especially with how many laps we're going to have left here, and if you throw into the sequence of if we get to the next green flag pit stop, Cosman Ionescu in that 4 has really been the dominant car within that 10-lap average. Got to wonder what type of moves that 4 machine is willing to make to try and get around the 99, especially if they both have good pit stops here and are both able to get out and be around one another. And don't keep, don't sleep on that 43 machine of Ricky Collette. Tommy Bordeaux, the 57 in the 4th position right now. How about that strategy call on 2 tires? He was back in the 8th and 9th position after this latest caution. Move him up to the 4th spot. Davey Hazard, who was really able to run lap times considerable to what the leaders were running, and he was by himself. He'll restart in the 5th position. So a lot of these guys that really got themselves spread out through green flag pit stops all mired back up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should be an interesting restart here. Got to wonder if the 43 is able to really do anything with the right side damage that he has, and what type of impediment he may have for guys like Randall Coleman, like the 50 or like the 75 of Davey Hazard, the 10 of Joseph Weaver. A lot of heavy hitters that are able to really get back within striking distance of the leaders here.
Yeah, and again, those are cars that, could be improving, and all they needed was just a little bit of draft, and they may be able to keep up with the rest of the field. Guys like Davey Hazard, Joseph Weaver, who have been up front all night, we may see them finally able to keep up. Or heck, Tommy Bordeaux took some track position with a 2-tire call and now sees himself in the 4th spot. So, and then you obviously have these wrecks. You don't know what's going to happen. So again, a lot to be decided here. If you have a quick yellow, how far can you stretch it on fuel? Can you go 20 laps? Are you going to bet on another caution? So a lot of strategy to really to be decided here in these next couple of laps, if they can either stay green or find the yellow flag again. But Brandon Hawken and Ionescu are going to stay in that catbird seat there on the front row. It's up to the rest of these guys to try to run down their fast Toyotas. As again, Hawken, that bottom lane, we've seen them get a great jump all night, and it's no different here as Hawken will get out to a lead. Green flag in the air. But how about Ricky Collette there down on the inside? Also gets a great restart. He'll be side by side with Ionescu here going into turn 1. And it looks like right now they're dead even. Give Collette a little bit of advantage. And now Cosman battling back on the outside. Cosman has to shift, steps out of it a little bit. And both of them get tight. Now Hazard makes to the bottom, 3 wide here on the back straightaway. Davey Hazard will go by Collette, who backs out. And now Ionescu has the advantage as they go into turn 3. Hazard there on the bottom looks to make a move by Ionescu. Again, staying steady there on the outside. Hazard gets the advantage into 4. Ionescu trying to pinch him, but it looks like it's not going to work. Hazard will clear him for the 2nd spot. And how about Brandon Hawken, who's checked out, do a nice lead.
What an impressive move by that 75 machine of Davey Hazard down the back straightaway. We talked about him right before that last restart there. Was able to run considerable times quicker or evenly matched with the leaders there. Just wasn't in striking distance to have the draft to do anything. Puts himself into the 5th position on the restart. Now up to the 2nd position, trying to run down the 99 machine of Brandon Hawkins. This is unfamiliar territory for the 4 machine of Cosman Ionescu. Back in the 3rd position, it's really been him in the 99 in the dominant spot all evening long here. Now he has to try and battle back around the 75 machine and keep that 99 of Brandon Hawkins in his sight to try and run him back down. What a turn of events here. What a recovery by that 75 of Davey Hazard. Really got the caution he needed, Blake. Now he's able to set his sights forward, see if he can match lap times with that number 99 machine as they come across the line here, waiting for scoring to circle back around. 99 of 47.1 to Davey Hazard's 46.6, almost 0.2 of a second quicker than every other race car that's on the track here. So got to see if he's willing to conserve a little bit of tires in that 75, Blake, but he is running down the 99 machine right now in the draft.
He is. Those long straightaways allow him the opportunity to draft, and unlike earlier, he also has a car behind him. You can see him pull up to the entrance of turn 4, just how much that draft is, and now it's almost down to a single car length. Davey Hazard is on a march to the front, and he has a drafting partner right behind him in Ionescu, but off of turn 4, I got to believe that Hazard making up some ground is going to be right on the rear bumper of Hawken as they're going to enter turn 1. That just goes to show you how important this draft is, how important track position is, and it's really like the real Monster Energy Cup cars, how important these restarts are to try to establish your track position, because once you get shuffled out, it's just really hard to pass here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But again, Hazard ran down Hawken that time by about another 0.4 of a second, actually just ran his fastest lap of the race. And as I'm scrolling through some of these lap times, I believe Hazard just put down the fastest lap of any of the cars have made tonight with a 46.561. So Hazard off of 4. We'll see if he'll get a run off the corner. It looks like he may be able to, and he may be able to make a move as they cross the bricks here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Davey Hazard down to the inside, and Hawken will give way, move the 75 up to the top spot.
power move down the front straightaway as he slips up the groove just a little bit. That's going to open the door for the 99. He slams it shut as they dive down into turn 2 here. Caused an Iona shoe in the 4 machine. Now going to try and make a move on that number 99 machine as well. And Blake, what we haven't really noticed yet is that 43 of Ricky Collette and the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux have not fallen out of the fray either. The two front runners who were really able to just drive away from the rest of the field early on in the event have not been able to get away like they were earlier, and now they have a 75 machine of Davey Hazard that's gotten around both of them, taken over the race lead, and has really shown a lot of strength and dominance here over the last 5 or 6 laps, something that we haven't really seen anybody been able to compete with the two front Toyotas. Add a third Camry in there, and we got a 3 Camry showdown up to the front in the top 3 here. 4 actually, if you include the 43 Ricky Collette and the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux. We got a full Toyota Camry top 5 right now, Blake.
Well, again, that just shows you battling side by side makes it really slows you down so much because it ruins your entrance to the corner, it ruins your exit. So all this battling up front, I'm sure, is what is keeping Collette and Bordeaux in the picture. They ran down Hawken and Ionescu that last time, 46.6, 46.7 for Bordeaux. But it was a 47-second lap by Hawkins. So again, the rest of this pack trying to run him down, and it's going to be Collette trying to make a move. Bordeaux pulls up right to the back of Collette, but again, I think if you're Bordeaux, you really don't want to make a move right now. You want to be able to pull up to those top 3 cars, because if you get side by side with that 43, it's going to take a lot of time away. And really, you can't afford that when you're hanging on to the draft like this. But also, another name we haven't mentioned a lot tonight, how about the Indiana native Austin Hakes back there in the 28 car? He may deceive you with an Ohio State scheme that he is an Indiana native. But it looks like, actually, Hakes is going to be able to get a run as the 57 and 43 are side by side. Bordeaux tried to make a move, couldn't complete it. But again, that shows you how much that's going to slow them down. And they didn't make up any position, so that just shows you probably don't want to be making a move, and that cost them a lot of time as they ran about half a second slower than our lead pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, Austin Hakes had a huge run going down into turn 4 there with the 57 and that number 43 machine battling side by side. Really just nowhere for the 28 to go, though. He kind of was stuck in a rock and a hard place, ended up settling, pushing the 57 down the front straightaway. As we look forward, there goes Tommy Bordeaux. He's going to make a move on the 43 again, see if maybe he can clear that pass through 3 and 4. He's got a little bit of a nose there. I think he's going to be able to do it. There comes Austin Hakes in the 28. A little bit of contact off of turn 3. Battle down into turn 4 there. The 28's going to clear that number 43 machine as well. Move Austin Hakes up to that number 5 position. Move Tommy Bordeaux up to the number 4 position as well, Blake.
Well, Bordeaux gets the spot, but he does not get the time. Fell off 0.3 of a second battling there side by side with the 43 of Collette. So I just don't know if it's worth the risk. Yes, he has the 4th position, and you're a racer. You want that spot in front of you no matter where it is, but you got to think that that front pack is now probably going to drive away from you, and without a yellow, you may not be able to run down that front pack. Really, the only thing that can save you is that we're inside 15 laps. I think if you're this second group, you've already lost that top pack. You got to pit right now. It's within your fuel window. You'll have more laps on fresher tires, and you'll almost force that top pack to come in with you. And really what you're trying to do is break it up. So if one of those guys in the top pack has a bad pit stop, then it's 2 cars out there, and you have 3 cars with you. So if I was Bordeaux, or I was Austin Hakes, or I was the 43's pit box, especially now as Hakes will now make a move for that 4th spot, I would be pitting right now. So, guys, I hope you're listening to this broadcast. Pit now.
Absolutely. Just over 15 laps to go remaining in the event here, well within their pit window here for a last pit stop. You're right, Blake. You got to force these guys' hands up front. They're starting to drive away because you guys have been racing for the last 3 or 4 laps. You got to do something to mix up the strategy here. And if you get those cars out front, decide to stay out front, then utilize the new tires as an advantage to come in here and, you know, try to shorten the gap and the distance a little bit to give yourself a shot. But who's to say that someone in that top 3, for example, doesn't come in later on and take 2 tires and try to distance themselves from the leaders as well, Blake? We could have, you know, 3 or 4 different strategy calls here before the end of the race inside 15 laps to go now.
Yeah, it could really shake things up. And then, of course, you always have a yellow flag that could come out and really just ruin everything. I think this top group could pit. They don't have to worry about quite falling a lap down. But again, you got to force something if you're going to try to win this inaugural race here on the Virtual Motorsports Network. We're glad to have you with us here for the Who's Your Team 140 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as we're now coming down to the wire. And right now out front, it is still Davey Hazard, who really hadn't been a factor all night, wasn't able to stay with Hawk and Ionescu earlier on in the draft, but once he got the yellow that he needed, he has been pacing them and running pretty consistent with them. That North Florida Toyota, and we've known North Florida to be a little bit of a upset college basketball team there in the Atlantic Sun, and there is only 7 laps that Davey Hazard has led in this thing. I believe our statistician Joe Allen was in my ear. 42 laps rather, led between both the 99 and Cosman, and now the 75 will cross over and lead lap 8. Makes a bit of an evasive maneuver, but I believe we actually have caution on the speedway. The yellow lights are on, and that is going to change everything here, as we're now with 13 laps to go. We'll try to look back and see where the caution initiated from. I believe it was somewhere in turn 3. I believe a little bit of contact was made, and I think that 91 Ford of Sean Whitehill may have been the one that went around after some contact there made with the 40 car of Maroda. And yes, that is what we're seeing. And Joe Allen, you are ready with the replay. Show us what happened there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to focus on that number 91 machine, as you stated here. We'll get this up on the screen as well. Put this thing in slow motion here. Sean Whitehill battles down into turn 3 behind that number 40 machine. That is the 40 of Michael Maroda. Looks like gets off the throttle a little extra, trying to not run into the back of the 40. Just steps out from it as he gets up the groove. The 20 machine, that is the number 20 of Joey Fulford right there in the back. Tries to avoid contact. Think the 20 may make a little contact with the outside wall here too. Yep, hard into the outside wall for that number 91 machine as well. Just gets loose behind the 40, Blake. I think it was just a matter of trying to avoid the impending accident in front of you here. Try to avoid running over a guy that, for all intents, you were probably faster than. And unfortunately, that number 91 machine, Sean Whitehill, just gets the hard end of the stick there, hard into the outside wall, probably really ruining any chance at a good finish here before the end of the night. A lot of damage there that he's going to have repaired, and see if maybe he can keep up a little bit in the draft and try to battle back for at least a top 10 finish here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to put a dampers on his night. Great job on the replay there by Joe Allen. I wonder if somebody is going to have to take 2 tires here. That could be an option here, as Bordeaux looked like it worked out for him. But I think right now it's all these guys taking 4 tires. It looks like escaping pit road first is actually no. You got me wrong. It's going to be Collette who comes off first with the 2-tire call, and then it's going to be Hawken coming out second, Ionescu in third, Davey Hazard fourth, and then Tommy Bordeaux in fifth. So how about Collette in that 43 UMass Dartmouth machine? Looks like he's trying to shake it up and go after this win. He just took 2 tires, and really got to think you're about 6th or 7th. It's really a good call, because all it takes is 1 caution. That's about another 4 or 5 laps off of this total. So if he can just keep guys behind him, this may be a call that could be for the win.
Yeah, very interesting strategy call there, but I like it. I'm also interested to see the guys we have on the racetrack. I believe they're all at least a lap down. Looking down, the 8 machine, Cam Barnes. Technically, he would be on the tail end of the lead lap, probably going for a wave around here, more than likely to get himself back onto the lead lap. We have the 48 of Zach Trostowski. I know I just butchered that. You've been saying it all night, but I butchered it. It's okay. 41 machine of Jordan Prost. I think he's going to try to get a wave around here. Here comes the 5 machine. That is William Page. He's going to come down, get 4 fresh tires here, it looks like, as well. And who's that? It looks like the 43. Is he coming back down pit road again? Our 2-tire call coming back down to take 4 fresh tires, Blake?
He is. I'm going to have to think maybe we were wrong with the 2-tire call. Maybe he wanted 4 tires. Yeah, he came down pit road. I'm watching the replay of his pit stop right now. Yeah, he took 2 tires. So I think that wasn't his intention. Maybe it's one of those deals where, you know, the crew chief is thinking, hey, we're going to put on 2. The driver at the last second wants 4. And now he's going to get 4 fresh tires. So an interesting call there goes by the wayside as Collette possibly showing that 2 tires is not the way to go, as he had the lead and relinquished it to get 4.
Yeah, very interesting strategy call there. Even though you took 2 tires, even if it was strictly accidental that you took 2 tires, you're going to take the green flag here with roughly 8 laps to go probably. Light's still on the pace car, so they'll probably go out this time by is my assumption there. That would put you with 8 laps to go when the green flag comes back out. I mean, with a car as fast as we've seen the 43 on the short run, we got through roughly half a fuel run there before this latest caution came out. Gotta wonder if, you know, maybe the 2-tire call would have been the right call, but apparently he thinks otherwise. He's going to go with the safe route and take 4 tires and try to, you know, make up that lost track position here. Another thing to look forward to here, Blake, is that 75 machine, our leader, Davey Hazard, slow on pit road there, came in as the leader, came out into that 3rd position. Gotta wonder, knowing that he has that short run speed that he displayed on the last restart here, what type of moves do we expect to see out of that 75 as we get geared up to go back green here, hopefully within the next lap or so?
Yeah, well, we've shown that he has the capability of going up and passing these guys for sure, as he did earlier in that run, but you also got to think Hawken and Ionescu, I'm sure, are not going to be as willing to let him by, thinking that he may be running his tires off. It's go time, and looking at the pit stop that Davey Hazard had, honestly can't really see a reason. It looks like really the only thing I could spot is that he had a slow launch off of his pit stall. It looked like he may have almost blown 1st gear for a second, or that he was in 3rd or 4th gear when he launched out of his pit box. So that may have been the difference here, as he'll line up in the 3rd spot. We'll see 2 cars go around and take the wave around, as Probst and Trostowski in the Yukon Chevrolet will go around, and they'll be taking the wave around. Right now there are 4 cars sitting behind the wall in this one. It's the 62 of Jacob Crago. He'll finish 17th. The 42 of Darren Ingram will finish up in 18th. Trey Coleman will finish up 19th in the number 12 car. And then it'll be Noah Joyce running out the back of this field. He'll finish in 20th. So Davey Hazard, again, troubles on pit road. He'll restart 3rd. Tommy Bordeaux now has another opportunity to try to run these guys down. And again, you really only get 1 or 2 shots at this with the amount of caution laps that you have here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You have a couple chances to get it right. You never know which flag or when the caution will come out and end it.
Yeah, and expect the intensity to ramp up here. Less than 8 laps to go when we get back under, or less than 10 laps to go when we get back under green flag racing here. Patience out the window. Teammates out the window. Inside 10 laps to go. Every man for themselves. Checkers is what the end goal is here, especially when you're racing for the first time on the Virtual Motorsports Network. I mean, any of these guys out here, I imagine, want to be the first time winners on the network here on this special presentation that we have here tonight from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've seen the launch from the 99 all night long on the bottom side here on these restarts. Gotta wonder if Cosman Ionescu in that number 4 machine can do anything different to try to keep himself in contention with the 99. What do we see out of Davey Hazard in the 75? Can Tommy Bordeaux do anything in that number 57 machine from the 4th spot, coming down, waiting for the flag starter to get that green flag in hand, and he does. Green flag back on the raceway here. 99 gets another good launch. Davey Hazard's going to be able to get underneath that number 4 machine as they battle down into turn 1, Blake.
Side by side into 1. Hazard will be at the quarter panel of Ionescu, but it looks like he'll be cleared. The 4 will move up to 2nd, and the 75 will shift back into 3rd. Oh, but there's trouble in turn number 2. There's a car on the inside of the apron. I believe it is Randall Coleman there on the apron. Green flag still out on the speedway, so we will not see the yellow flag, but that Duke machine ran there on the runoff there in turn 2. It looks like that is going to keep it green, though, as Brandon Hawken will get out to that lead with Ionescu and Hazard right behind him.
Yeah, tough break for Randall Coleman in the 24 machine. Really been battling the handling of that race car all night long. Just an unfortunate bystander there. Contact between 2 other cars in front of him that just came down into him, sent him down into the inside wall. unfortunate circumstance for him. But as we continue to look at the battle for the race lead up front, Cosman Ionescu in the 4 machine really rolls the center, closes the gap on that number 99 machine as they roll through turns 2 here down to the backstretch at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Can Davey Hazard do anything? Can Tommy Bordeaux in the 57 make a move? If these guys get side by side, it's really going to open up the opportunity for any one of those guys back in the 3rd and 4th position to come up here and make a move. But Cosman not able to do anything yet. He's going to get up to the back bumper on that number 99 machine. What's Brandon Hawkins going to do? Does he drive defensive? Does he run down to the inside wall to try and break the draft of the 4? Cosman looks out just a little bit. He's going to run down onto that back bumper, try to use all the draft that he can to try and gauge up a run for this next time around down the back straightaway, Blake.
Well, if you're Cosman, you got to make a move, and you got to be smart about it, because any move you make, if you're side-by-side with Hawkins exiting a corner, you're going to have to worry about that 75 machine making it 3 wide, who won't be side-by-side and will get a better exit. So Cosman, although you want to go, and there's only a couple laps to go, we're on lap 64 of 70, so 7 laps to go right now. If you're Cosman, you don't want to make a move too early and allow Hazard the opportunity to come catch you. And even you have Bordeaux that's trailing this group, but Cosman will go for it in turn 4. He'll dive down to the inside right now. They're dead even off of turn number 4. Hazard will give Ionescu the advantage. I would pull up high and draft Hawkins down the other part of the straightaway to keep them side by side. He does just that. They go in side by side now. Hazard becomes a part of it. She will slip up in trouble. The 4 goes into the outside wall. Hazard will keep on going. The caution flag is out. And I believe that they will race back to the line as it is under 10 laps to go. So Brandon Hawkins still on the throttle. Davey Hazard, not enough room to catch him there with the draft. But I believe Hawkins, all he has to do is ride it here home. He may actually have the win depending on the caution flag and how many laps we get. We may have a 1 to go, but right now the race back to the caution flag is going to be won by Brennan Hawkins. Davey Hazard 2nd. Joseph Weaver is going to merge in the 3rd spot. Austin Hakes, the Indiana native, in 4th. And then Tommy Bordeaux in 5th. Well, you saw it right there here live on VMN. We were looking right at it, and it looks like Ionescu getting pinched down there in turn 1. That was just something he could not handle, got a little bit loose, and into the outside wall he went after Hazard not able to check up for him.
Yeah, really nowhere to go for the number 75 machine of Hazard. Cosman just doing everything he can to try and make a move on the number 99 machine. Makes contact with the inside barrier there, the inside rumble strip, and just really nowhere for the 75 to go. Gets into the back of him. I don't know. Obviously, we've had long caution stints here, Blake. 4 laps, almost 5 technically, 5 laps to go if you count the last lap here. We could potentially see a 1-lap shootout, possibly. Even with the lap cars, they'll open up pit road this time by. They'll allow the lap cars to pit next time by. Throw in 1 more lap after that. We may very well get a green, white flag displayed restart here, possibly. We'll have to wait and see, and that begs the question. These guys are going to be, you know, crunching numbers. Can we get a restart here? If they do any of the leaders by chance go down here and pit under this caution and take the risk that yes, this race will go back green and utilize those fresh tires here?
I think if you're the top 2, if you're Davey Hazard and Brandon Hawkins, you've had the speed. You can't pit right now. You really just can't justify coming down pit road because everybody's going to stay out. Well, if I'm Joseph Weaver, I've had a fast car all day, just not quite what that 99 and that 75 have. You bet if I have any teammates behind me, I am saying, hey, we are coming down pit road, because if you can get the rest of this field about 3rd on back to come down pit road and get 4 fresh tires, you may just have enough to go and chase after that leader, because again, even if there's a wreck, you're going to race back and that's going to be the end of it. So, but also, do you want to risk it if you're not going to go green again? So there's a lot of strategy here to be decided. I believe you're right, though. We're going to have a, don't know if you want to call it a green-white checkered, more or less a white checkered, where we have a 1-lap shootout to the finish. But again, it just depends on what your strategy is. If you want points, you stay out and get them. If you're Weaver and it's win or go home, I would try to drag as many cars behind me down pit road to try to go challenge this 99 and 75, because They just ran about half of a tire or half of a fuel run on tires. You had to know they were running really hard there up at the front, so they were not saving their tires. I'm sure they're worn. I would try to take a gamble, but who knows if you want to take that gamble.
Yeah, that's the tale of the evening here. Who's willing to take the gamble? First time around when pit road was open, really didn't see any takers from the leaders, so they must all know something that we don't know up here in the booth. Who knows? Are we going to get another shot at this and get this race restarted, or are we looking at our top 3 finishers with Brandon Hawken in that number 99 machine, Davey Hazard, strong run in the 75. Joseph Weaver coming back, really hasn't been a threat in the top 5 all evening, but shows up at the end, gets himself a top 3. Here come the lap cars down pit road this time. They're all going to come in for at least tires and fuel and line themselves up at the back of the field here. So we see these guys looking like they're starting to line up double file. Do we see the lights turn off this time by since we had no lap cars on the tail end of the lead lap? Nope, lights stay on at least one more time. Completion of lap 67, start of lap 68. If we see anything, the lights will have to go out on the pace car this time by when they come back across the bricks down the start-finish line.
Yeah, that's a lot of anticipation and really a lot of waiting. They got about 2-minute, 10-second lap times here, so gonna have to, I guess, check back in that amount of time, see if we're gonna go green for the rest of this thing. And just kind of looking back through the field, the cars that did elect to come down pit road that last time by, I want to go back and check and kind of provide you with that information, who went down pit road to get 4 fresh tires. I think it was only Towanowski, or Towanski, yes, there we go, the right pronunciation, but he came down pit road, as well as Cosman, obviously, after that wreck. Beat up race car, probably needs some repair. And then you saw Randall Coleman as well, who I'm sure lit up his 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles there on that spin on the inside part of the apron, so he gets another chance at it, and he'll restart in the 12th spot. But he's also, no, he is on the lead lap, so who knows? Don't think that's enough time to get back up there, but like you said, Joe, it all comes down to whether the lights go off. I think we're going to see him go off, but you can never really be sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting little thing we got going on here, Blake. If they do go off, I think that'll actually give us it'll be completion of 68, starting 69. It'll be a 1-lap shootout when they take the green flag here. So they'll display the white flag in hand as well, and these guys will go at it for one last lap. I think if you're Brandon Hawken, you're saying, no, keep those pace car lights on. If you're Davey Hazard or Joseph Weaver, you're going, yes, turn them off, turn them off, turn them off. Let us go. Give us a chance at it. So time will tell. Pace car down the front stretch. He is going to cross the bricks here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the lights are going to go off. We are going to have a 1-lap shootout here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here. What a lineup for a finish here for the first inaugural event held here on the Virtual Motorsports Network.
Absolutely. It doesn't really get better than this. One final time to say, hey, I want to go out and win this thing. 1 lap to try, and not only win on the Virtual Motorsports Network, but to add your name to the illustrious list of winners here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Somebody or some place that everyone, every driver thinks about winning, just because of the historic, just the history here at this venue. But you have Brandon Hawken restarted up front, been the fastest car all day, and undoubtedly the car that can match him in Cosman is out of this thing. But then you have Hazard there on the outside. Hasn't gotten a great restart on that outside line, whether it was Hazard or any other car. That inside line is where you want to be. So can Joseph Weaver, who sits back there in the 3rd spot, rally, running the top 5 all night, and see if he can score a win for the Wolfpack? And then you have the Ohio State Buckeyes machine of Austin Hakes in Indiana, and if you know he wants to win here. And then Tommy Bordeaux, another man that has been running up front, took a strategy gamble, and has just bided his time and run a clean race. Can he emerge from some potential smoke and see if he can get this win? Well, we're going to find out right now. The pace car coming into turn number 4. The fans here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I'm sure in your seat, you don't need it. They're going to be out of their seat. That yellow Papyrus pace car is going to come down, and we're going to settle it here for the first ever race on the Virtual Motorsports Network here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Is it Hawken? Is it Hazard? Is it Weaver? Is it Hakes? We're going to find out now. Is Brandon Hawken going to enter the restart zone and put him under the green flag? It is out. Hazard gets a great jump on the outside. He may actually beat him to the start-finish line. Weaver changes lanes before the start-finish line to give some draft to Hazard. Hawken will clear him, though, into turn 1. Utilizing that low side, he gets a great jump off the corner as well. Brandon Hawken, he's been the dominant car all night. He and Cosmin Ionescu have been leading this race the entire time. Can he hold on? He has 2 more corners left to go, but he has a mirror full of North Florida right behind him. Into turn 3 for the final time. Brandon Hawken goes into turn number 3, slips up the track, keeps it in the gas, and I believe he is going to do it. Needs 1 more clean corner, and I believe Hazard not going to be able to catch him. It is going to be Brandon Hawken for the 5th time in the Under Armour Cup Series will be your winner here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
What a finish. Congratulations to the 99 of Brandon Hawkins. Went out there, stood on the throttle. Joseph Weaver able to hang on for a 3rd place finish here under all the circumstances. Hasn't really been a top 5 car all evening long. He holds on for a podium finish. Davey Hazard in the 75. Thought maybe he had a chance at winning the race. How about Randall Coleman coming back, battling back for an 11th place finish. Cosmin Ionescu, he's going to come back for a 12th place finish after that wreck. What a battle for all of these guys. We see these guys celebrating with one another down the back straightaway here. A lot of camaraderie between these guys over here at the Fast Racing League. An excellent show, excellent production. Wow, that was fun. As we continue to look at the pictures here on the screen, we will get ready to dive into our Virtual Motorsports Network post-race show here. That's coming up next.
Absolutely, and we'll remind you, for all of you out there who may not be familiar with VMN or some of the work we've done in the past, we're going to be talking to the top 3 finishers from this race. So it looks like that is going to be Joseph Weaver after bringing it home 3rd in that Wolfpack machine. Davey Hazard, we'll get to talk to him as well in that 75 machine in 2nd. And then Brandon Hawken will catch up with your winner in just a bit. But right now we'll give you a full leaderboard rundown and see where they all finished out here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brandon Hawken takes down the win. Davey Hazard finishes up 2nd. Joseph Weaver will finish up in 3rd. Austin Hakes in 4th. Bordeaux, he rebounded, and he will finish up. That's Tommy Bordeaux in the 5th spot. Michael Marotta will finish up in 6th. 7th is going to go to the 41 machine of Jordan Props. So what a rebound there for that 41 car. The number 20 of Joey Fulford is going to finish up in 8th. Ricky Collette will finish up in 9th. And then rallying and finishing out in the top 10 is going to be Joe Towanski. Man, I think I finally have it down. 11th is going to be Randall Coleman. 12th, Cosmin Ionescu. 13th will go to Sean Whitehill. 14th will go to Cam Barnes. 15th, Zach Trostowski will finish up in 15th. 16th is going to go to William Page. And then the cars that did not make it to the checkered flag tonight, Jacob Crago finishes up in 17th. 18th is going to go to Darren Ingram. 19th is going to go to Trey Coleman. And then 20th will go to the 21 car, and that is going to be driven by Noah Joyce. So again, we're just about ready here to start talking to the top 3 drivers that we had running for us tonight. And Joe, I believe you have caught up with our first man of the night. That is going to be Joseph Weaver, and probably in very biased, my favorite car of the night, in the NC State Wolfpack machine.
Yeah, caught up down here on pit road with our 3rd place finisher this evening, that number 10 machine of Joseph Weaver. And Joseph, just because you didn't win the race, you are not the real 6. I am still the real 6. I had to get that out of the way real quick. But I'll give you the floor, man. Tell us about your race tonight. It looked like you didn't necessarily have the speed to be up there battling in the top 5 through the middle portion of the race, but with strategy calls and a late race caution there, positioned yourself for a podium finish here this evening, coming into that 3rd position.
Man, it was all really unexpected. I didn't think I had anything in practice. I was slow all day. It was just, I just ran my race, kept it nose clean, and I came out with a good finish.
Yeah, tell us about the race in general. You know, we had those struggles early on. We got through about half a lap, and then everybody really settled in for the middle portion of that race. Did you really, make any big swings at it to the setup throughout the middle portion of the race to try and get yourself there? I mean, obviously you found speed at the end that you didn't necessarily have at the beginning, and that's how you were able to hold off that 28 machine of Austin Hakes for a third place finish here at the end of this race.
Well, I figured the car had good long run speed, and in that middle run I found that out that it really held on, so I didn't want to change much. I was thinking about making some calls late in the race when I thought we were going green, maybe take no tires on that last pit stop, but that last caution changed everything. Just came in, got 4 tires, and did my best to keep it up front.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, inaugural race here for Fast Racing, the Under Armour Cup Series on the Virtual Motorsports Network here. Come away with a podium finish. I'm so excited I got to talk to you tonight. I know we've been yanking each other's chains all week, and the excitement over this event. So, hey, congratulations from all of us up here in the booth for your exciting run and a very strong third place run tonight. I'm going to give the microphone to you. If you got any friends, family, sponsors, anybody else that makes this happen for you on a weekly night here at Fast Racing, the time is yours now. Give them a shout out.
I want to say thank you to old Brandon Hawkin, my friends at Rad Lad Racing, PTR, M7, Davey Hazard, Austin Hakes, and Tommy Bordeaux. They all they helped me a lot. Also, a shout out to you guys for putting on a great broadcast, and Randall for putting on a nice league to come run every week.
All right. Well, hey, congratulations again, Weaver. It was nice talking with you. Congratulations on that third place finish.
Thank you.
Go Pack.
All right, so moving on, Blake, I'm going to throw it down to you. We're going to pull in Davey Hazard here. I believe you've caught up with our second place finisher this evening.
I believe I had Davey Hazard. There's Blake McCandless at VMN. You got a copy.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
All right. Well, great to talk to you. We really saw what you were capable of after that first caution came out. Tell us how that 75 car really came to life in that last part of the race.
I mean, we were always fast. We were fast all through practice. I mean, the time boards don't normally show it with this team, but that's kind of the MO here. Is we don't really run that quick in practice or qualify. We actually didn't even qualify, but as the race goes on, we like to keep it going and keep it rolling. And all those Toyotas were really fast today, and yeah, it was a pretty good run.
Certainly were. Once you're able to get the track position and get the draft, you were really able to run with anybody out here on this track, and it's a real testament to you guys. But not the best effort in qualifying, or actually, well, just like you guys said, you didn't qualify. How tough was it to try and race through this field on that first run where you didn't really get the caution that you needed?
Well, it was pretty difficult having to tiptoe through the field like that, but we were kind of helped by that early caution. A couple people pit. We kind of got up right around the top 10. We moved our way up. I think we got up kind of chasing the top 5 there as the race went on. Got by Randall, and that long green flag run really helped us because our car was just unbelievable on the long runs. It's what allowed me to take a short pit there at the end of that green flag run. But yeah, getting through that traffic is obviously always the hardest part.
Well, it certainly is, and I guess this is a unique night running the college on your car. You got North Florida on there. If it's them or anybody else you want to shout out, I'll give you the mic, and the floor is all yours.
Shout out to my dad who's probably watching this. Yeah, he helps me in karting and stuff, and really appreciate all that. Shout out to all the guys on Primetime Racing, all my sim racing buddies. Obviously, you got Weaver and Brandon. They finished in the top 3, all really quick, great guys. And yeah, that's basically it. Great night.
All right, definitely a great night, as that's Davey Hazard. He'll be your second place winner, but Joe, I believe that you are down there on the bricks here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with a man who is really excited to be here, and that's number 99 of Brandon Hawkin.
Yeah, absolutely. Down here on the front stretch, Brandon Hawkin just done kissing the bricks down there. Brandon, we talked with you a little bit earlier. You were really the class of the field tonight with Cosmo and Iona Shoe in the Ford machine. How were you able to pull that off with that late race restart there?
Man, I'm not sure actually. I was really surprised by Davey's speed. I didn't know that he was like right on pace with both me and Cosman. And yeah, when he pulled out to make the pass, I'm like, oh man, yeah, this dude's serious. So yeah, man, it was a really tough race. It was a lot to do with tire management, and it was going to be really interesting if it came down to green flag pit stops there at the end, because we were all on different strategies. So man, overall, man, that was a really fun race, and can't thank my guys at PTR, M7, and Radlad Racing enough. It was a great race.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys put on a heck of a show out there. Were you afraid at all, you know, when Davey got out there on you guys before that last caution? Did you think you had anything that you could do with him if it came down to it to get back around him? Was there any talk of maybe two-tire strategy, you know, before the last caution came out? Did you have any tricks up your sleeve that you possibly would have had to have used?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I was planning on, like, I would have had just enough gas if I took a can and 2 tires. So I was thinking, yeah, all that time saved on pit road would have been it. But I know Cosman, he pitted a couple laps earlier, so I think he would have had to take a little bit extra fuel. And I think Davey was also on the 2-tire strategy, I believe. So yeah, that would have been really tight, seeing who could have gotten back on and off the pit road fastest. And yeah, but either way, it ended up for a really exciting finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you were really dominant all night, whether it was speed out on the racetrack or your consistency with pit stops under the various green flag pit stops you guys had to do through the night. You seemed to be able to continue to gap yourself and put distance between you and Cosman. Did Cosman have a little bit, you know, more short run speed than you did? We always saw you were able to kind of evenly match him and then pull away towards the middle and end part of the run, but looked like he may have been just a little bit better than you for the beginning of these runs.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to gauge, because it felt like if you were out in front, you could manage that lead a little bit better. But if you were behind, it was almost like you got like an arrow push, or I don't even know. It was definitely got really tight behind people. So yeah, I think it was kind of like a matter of who got in front, because yeah, like when I was in front of Davey and Cosman, they didn't really do too much other than Davey, who made that pass. But then, yeah, like, I don't know, it was a little bit tough to get past the leader, but once you did, you could kind of hold it over second and third as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, congratulations once again from all of us here at the Virtual Motorsports Network. Inaugural winner, first event that we've had on the airwaves here so far in our young, short career, but you know, couldn't think of a better guy to do it here tonight. We've raced with you before. We've done other broadcasts with you before, and very class act. So congratulations once again from all of us. I'm going to give you the microphone one more time before we let you go here. If you got any teammates, friends, family, anybody that may watch this broadcast back when it's archived, the time is yours now to go ahead and give them a shout out.
Well, I'd like to, I think my mom's watching, so yeah, shout out to her. My dad might see it later, I don't know. And yeah, of course, my teammates, PTR. And yeah, Randall for hosting this league, which is like this is my home league. It's really good racing, week in and week out. And also thanks to you guys for coming in here to broadcast it.
Alrighty, well, congratulations once again, Brandon. That was our race winner here this evening, the inaugural Fast Under Armour Cup Series race held here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here. Brandon Hawkins, our very first winner, Blake. And I'll tell you what, man, that was an exciting show. I had a lot of fun tonight doing that with these guys.
It certainly was. It's awesome when, you know, you can come out here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, open setups. Some guys are loose, some guys are tight, but nevertheless, these guys put on a whale of a show. A lot of green flag racing, lots of clean, hard side-by-side racing. So really can't ask for much more than that. If you're interested in the Fast League at all, obviously Under Armour Cup Series returns next Wednesday night. You can check them out, see if you like what you see here. You can run it. All you need is NR 2003 and to sign up at Fast Racing League's SMS website. And also Truck Series will be Randall Coleman, William Page, Austin Hakes, and Brandon Hawkins. So be sure to tune into that, and thank you very much for tuning in to what we hope is the first of many here on VMN, the voice of NR. So for Joe Allen, I am Blake McCandless saying so long from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where it was Brandon Hawkins taking down the win in the Fast Under Armour Cup Series. We hope to see you next time, and God bless you.